49 of 2019 was Kimberly's Capital Punishment by Richard Milward. This book is so weird, and it's funny because the person that lent it me, that recommended it me, said it was weird, and stupidly I was like, oh yeah, I quite like weird, and the way she described it, I was like, oh yeah, that sounds quite good, because the way she described it was there was this character who'd got her boyfriend to commit suicide, and I was like, that sounds really good, like psychologically. It's not like that, it's not good like that, not that that is a good thing, but like that kind of like Gone Girl kind of psychology, it's not like that. It's bloody weird, and it's kind of, this is everything I hate about postmodern literature, because I want to read about this stuff. Like literally the topics that it discusses is like suicide, battery, incest, STDs, murder, like drugs, sex, like bleeding from anal cavities. Like the amount of times that the author talks about that, I was really concerned for his sanity about that. Like, does he have a you know, an anal bleeding problem? There's a scene where the main character has sex with a tramp that's been living on the street. He's all black and never washed, and she has sex with him through a shower curtain because she doesn't want to touch him. And there's a description of what his penis is like and what is encrusted on there, and I don't really want to know that. I don't want to envision that. I don't want to imagine that. I don't want that. There's another scene where she defecates on the floor and then contemplates eating it. So that is how weird this book is. There's a little bit of incest in there as well, if I didn't mention that one before. You know, she's trying to be nice to everyone, so she lets everyone have sex with her, and they're all really horrible to her. There's a little bit of you know, a guy being abusive. Like it's not a nice, pleasant read. It's not a nice plot. It's really kind of, you know, creatively absurd and fantastical in parts. Like there's bits where the character gets reincarnated as like a different animal and stuff, and it's quite creative, but it's just weird. It's just really weird, and I didn't, you know, enjoy it, and I won't be reading anything else by this guy because it's just strange. What I can say that's a good thing about it, and why I'm glad that I kind of was exposed to it, is that Milward deconstructs the novel and what you expect a novel to be. He plays around with form a lot, which is quite interesting. You know, there's parts in it where he leaves kind of like blank pages to like create suspense in the prose. So he'll kind of like say something, and I think he says something like, oh, I'll give you some time to think about it, whatever, and then there is literally blank pages and you have to kind of flip through, or he says something like, oh, you think it's like, just leave it here and don't pick it back up, or look what you've done, you picked it back up. So it's kind of like, almost kind of like tantalising the reader, if you will. At one point he brings the reader into the book, like the characters engage with you as the reader, which I thought was very creative, because why haven't people done that before? But I guess, you know, maybe publicists don't allow these kind of deconstruction of novels to kind of happen very often. Maybe that's why I've never come across it before. There was other parts where he'd split the page into two columns. In fact, I'll probably show you. I can find it. Which, so like that. So each bit, each column is like is one character. So there's like two characters and what's happening, which is interesting, because usually if you have different character viewpoints in like a chapter, you have one chapter and then you have the other character's chapter. Whereas these are like going at the same time, so you can kind of see like what's happening during that time, rather than trying to piece it together as you read like the second person's chapter. So that was quite interesting. Let's see if there's the blank pages. Alright, here we go. So like, there's a bit here. I'll give you 4 blank pages to think it over, and he literally does give 4 blank pages, and then he starts to like talk about it. There's also a bit where like it gets to a point where it was like, go to this page if you want this to happen, go to this page if you want this to happen. Obviously I just carried on reading and read the whole thing, but you know, you had the option to kind of do that, so like the different kind of outcomes of what happens to Kimberly in part of the story, so that was quite creative and interesting. So for that reason it kind of made me think, oh actually you don't have to write a book in the way that everyone writes a book and the way that they say that you're supposed to write a book and stuff. So I thought that was quite interesting, but it was so bloody weird. So it kind of reminds me of like Trainspotting, and did I say that already? I've had to do this twice because it wasn't recording the first time, but in case I didn't say already, it's like Trainspotting. It's kind of like, you know, like miscreants of society, kind of like immoral, kind of like people who, I mean, I can't really even remember watching Trainspotting now whether they are immoral or not, but what I imagine to be like the underbelly of society, which is not a very nice way to refer to people, but it's kind of how it is in society. It kind of makes you like think about, are people like that, are they not like that? So yeah, I wouldn't recommend reading it, to be honest with you. It was, unless you like that kind of stuff, you know, some people are a bit weird. So yeah, I wouldn't read it.